Hi, it's Tim Hagan from Progress Coaching, and welcome to another episode of Coaching Conversations. And I wanted to make you aware of something very cool that we're doing on a subscription basis, and we'll put a link in each one of our episodes. But every Wednesday, we're going to be doing what we call an audio podcast workshop. That workshop will be roughly about 14 to maybe 20 minutes per episode, with each month having a theme from a coaching model, using feedback strategically, to coaching self-awareness, and so on. So if you could, look in the body or in the content description of each episode, and you will see a link where you can join this subscription. These are literally 4 workshops every month, teaching specific strategies to address a particular area of workplace coaching, as it relates, again, to things like awareness, motivation, teamwork, and what have you. Here's the cool thing. It's only $10 per month, and each month you will get a handout that we will follow along with. So we also give you a tool for you to take notes as we go through each episode. We hope you'll check it out.
So often we hear the term feedback or constructive feedback. Now today there's more and more research out there talking about the positivity of using strengths to engage with the workforce. The Gallup organization reports when we lead with people's strengths, they, meaning the people that are being addressed or coached, will actually engage 8 times more. Think about that. Often we call people into our office in corporate America, and what's the first impression? It's usually, what did I do wrong? So how do we use constructive feedback? We can't ignore it. I'm going to give you a question that will absolutely make your constructive feedback worthwhile, educational, and sustainable. So let's say we have an employee who's doing something wrong and you have to give constructive feedback, or they're not executing as well as they could. When you give the feedback, so often we tell people, you got to get your numbers up. You can't have a negative attitude. There's nothing wrong with that, but when it sits there, often when we leave it alone, guess what happens? People start to think, well, I do have a good attitude, or the numbers aren't just my fault. And we start to rationalize, but we really don't own the constructive feedback that was given to us. Why? Because we let the constructive feedback sit on its own. Let me give you a technique. So let's say we have an employee who has a really negative attitude. And we say, Charlie, you're really at times extremely abrasive. You are putting people on their heels. I've noticed people feeling a sense of anguish when they deal with you. Now, instead of getting defensive, hearing this feedback, what are you going to do to successfully address that? What are you going to do to successfully own that? When you give a directive or constructive feedback, follow it up with a self-actualized question. What are you going to do to successfully combat? What are you going to do to successfully alter that perception? What are you going to do to successfully turn that impression around? Have them answer a question after your direct feedback so they can ultimately own and frame their own mind to move in the right direction.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Coaching Conversations by Tim Hagan and Progress Coaching. Now, our company is always coming out with new and innovative solutions to help leaders coach their employees. And recently, we just created a new service called Coach to You, where leaders can pick and choose topics and assign 7 to 21 day programs for employees to learn and, more importantly, apply actions and then reflect and share what they're going to do going forward as a result of the learning. It's called Coach to You. We're literally bringing coaching to your employees. If you're intrigued, we'll have a link in each one of our episodes where you can get more information. And again, thank you so much for listening to another episode.